Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. My guest today is Diane Lang, Deal Counseling. All right, Diane, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Give our new audience a background on you, your company, and then I want to hear about your new book.
Sure. So I am a therapist, a life coach, author, and an adjunct professor at Montclair State University here in New Jersey. And as a positive psychologist, what I do is study happiness as well as teach it at the college level and in workshops. And positive psychology is also the science behind a lot of different coaching. So a lot of us who are in positive psychology, you will notice, are also life coaches as well. So I use positive psychology both in my therapy practice as well as my coaching practice. And I have a new book that just came out called Mindfully Happy, Waking Up to Life. And it's a mix of tips and tools on cultivating happiness and more mindfulness to reduce stress in your life.
Great. For those that don't know, describe positive psychology. Drill down into that.
Sure. So positive psychology is the newest branch of the sciences of psychology. And when we say new, it was coined in 1998 by Dr. Martin Seligman. And what positive psychology does is it really studies and researches what makes us happy, how to use our strengths both in work and personal life, what gives us purpose and meaning, what makes us resilient. So we're really just studying the other side of psychology, because most of the other branches study on mental illness, what doesn't work, why don't we function. But for us, we're really studying how to optimize and be our best selves, to reach kind of like Maslow. When you think of hierarchy of needs and you think of reaching that self-actualization, we're really giving tips and tools to cultivate more happiness and mindfulness in our lives, because the more joy we have, the happier we are, both in work and in our personal lives. And when we're mindful and we're more in the moment and we're conscious, we make better decisions. We make decisions that are not based on fear or ego, as well as we're able to be in the present moment where we're our most productive and creative, and we reduce our stress levels. So the book and our studies really do a lot on both sides.
I get it. How is it the happy employee and the company more profitable? Walk us through how you get people up to that level.
Well, when we go to work, if we're not happy in our lives, it really comes out in our work. So whether we're not happy in our home or in our personal lives and take that to work, or we're at work and we're not feeling appreciated, we're not using our strengths at our job, then what happens to the employee is if they're not happy, then they have more turnover. They'll have more absenteeism. They won't be as creative. They won't be productive. And when they're not happy in their job, you can really notice a difference. And one of the big aspects of work is socialization. I mean, we go to work to do our jobs and be productive. What really makes us happy at our jobs is to have that support system, to have that socialization, to feel a sense of community. And what we know is one of the number one factors of happiness is socialization, which socialization is really like a three-prong statement. So when we are having socialization, we're having fun, which we need even at work. We need to have that socialization and that laughing and, the people we connect to. We need community, which we can definitely get at work. We can have a really great sense of community at work, both in work and outside of work when, we're going out to happy hour, having parties at work or, birthday parties, whatever it is. And then we need a support system. So for us to be happy, both professionally and personally, we need that whole really big thing of socialization, and we need that at work. The happiest employees will say they have good friendships, they have a good support system, they feel that sense of community at their job, and they want to be there. And that makes a huge difference in their productivity and their creativity. So it's really important for our employees to be happy. We always used to think of just the bottom line and doing executive, leadership and team building. And not that that's not important, but we now know the other side, what we used to call the soft skills side, which we like to now call is more of an impactful side, because we really need that. If employees are not happy, they're not going to do their best job, and they're not going to bring their best selves with them.
How do you integrate each person within the network so that they come together as a community and then they grow as one? Tell me how that happens.
Well, when we come in to do workshops for corporations, we do a lot of lunch and learns where we come in where we actually teach the skills of happiness. We have what's called happiness habits. And those happiness habits, there's about 6 or 7. And when we incorporate them into our lives, not only do they shift our happiness in our personal lives, but they shift it in our professional lives. And what we do is we know is the happier we can make somebody, the more happy they are, the more they cultivate happiness and joy, the more they cultivate resiliency, which is really important at a workplace because, you know, we're going to have times that we're going to get constructive criticism or we're going to make mistakes because that's part of work. You know, we make mistakes, we make failures, you know, those are teachable moments. So by really developing our happiness skills and our resiliency skills, we can really make work a really more productive place. So I go in and just teach a lot of these skills, and they're very, very easy, they're sustainable, they're realistic. They don't change your schedule, which is really important for someone to work because they have those set hours that they need to, you know, work. It won't change your schedule. And it doesn't cost any money for the employee to have this sense of happiness. So it's really a win-win for everybody when they go in. So that's what we try to do is teach these skills so they can bring them to the workforce, as well as emotional intelligence, which we know is so important in the workforce.
Now, when you're doing this, are you in the room with them or do you also work virtually?
Most of the time I do more workshops in person, but what a lot of the companies do is I'll be at one campus and then they'll have it, you know, virtually for all the other campuses, or any of the salespeople are outside in the field, so they could just get it on their computer. And I also send all the handout and information, so everybody has it about a week beforehand so they can review it, be aware of it, see if they have any questions that, you know, they're already thinking about before they enter the workshop. And we try to break it up into a series. So maybe do 4 weeks and, you know, cover different aspects of it in the 4 weeks, or, you know, a month-long series.
Do you have any practical tips that you'd like to bring out to the people watching the show?
Sure, there's a bunch of really easy tips. And one of the things that I always bring up to corporations, and it's a really important one, but I know it's hard for a lot of us, is that we really need to reduce multitasking. And I know that's a hard one in the corporate workforce to think about, oh my God, I'm not going to multitask. But what we do know scientifically is our brains really can't handle to multitask. And every time we try to do anything that involves all of our attention, all of our focus and concentration, and we try to do 2 or 3 of those things at the same time, they don't get the effort, they don't get the concentration, the attention span that they deserve. So what happens is the minute I sit down and I try to do 2 or 3 activities and give them my 100%, which is an impossibility, I immediately get stressed out. And a lot of my clients will say, oh my God, the minute I try to multitask, I can feel the tension, my shoulders tense up, my neck hurts, I start getting a headache. You know, I feel like my breathing's heavy, because we know we can't do it. And then what happens is we give each of those activities 30 or 40%, then we hand it in to our bosses or to ourselves if we're entrepreneurs, and then it gets sent back because it's not done well. And whether it's grammar errors or we just miss things. And then, of course, that makes us angry and upset, and those mistakes, and then that just takes away from all the productivity because now I have to redo everything. So if we can reduce, I don't expect us to totally give up on multitasking, but really reduce the things that are important. Anything that really needs your 100% effort and attention, try to eliminate multitasking there. Do the multitasking on the simple things, making your lunch, making the coffee, you know, driving to work and on the Bluetooth. Whatever you can do that's on autopilot that really doesn't need your attention, keep your multitasking there. But anything that really needs 100% of you really should not be multitask. And that will help really minimize stress. And that will help us like our jobs better as well. So that's just one tip that we can actually work on right in our home lives and our work lives.
Great. I'm looking forward to future interviews with you where you can bring these tips out one at a time.
I'm going to definitely do that, so thank you.
Thanks, Diane. You've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be back with more great interviews just for you.